You can go out and find them on the FEMA website, FEMA.gov, and you will find the national functions listed there. There are 8 of them listed.
Okay. The next question is for Patrice, and this question is also from Victoria. It says, couldn't there also be other disasters, not a hurricane, where you would need to have backup on a regular basis?
Oh, absolutely. Not just under hurricanes, because VA, even though we are on the benefit side, is on alert with the national pandemic. We have policies in place in the event of a pandemic. All of our employees, of course, at that time, the critical employees have been given access to VPN and can utilize that to continue work.
The next question is says, you said the video will be available, but will the PowerPoint be also available somewhere for downloading and sharing with my staff? We will have the PowerPoint available on hsoutlook.com. That's www.hsoutlook.com alongside the video. And we'll have that up and running by the end of the week. By the end of the day tomorrow, we'll have that up and running. Another question here is anyone using some of these solutions, virtualization, WAN accelerators, and secure telework? And I believe this is for Joe.
Yes, we do have some DoD customers that we can't specifically mention by name that is currently using this technology. They've been using it since last year. Prior to the solution, they were, again, traditionally backing everything up to tapes, storing those tapes in a secure location, and then pulling those tapes out, and that process typically took about 2 to 3 days because of paperwork. Again, utilizing that technology, the government basically saw that it was not allowing them to meet the DoD AR 500-3 requirement, which basically references back FCD 1 and 2. It says you have to have your primary mission essential functions available within 12 hours. So that's kind of why the technology was driven towards going towards virtualization. So we do have a customer utilizing this full solution.
The next question is, are we really prepared for a nuclear disaster that terrorists will be committing? And I believe this could be for any of our panelists.
I don't think at this point they're working towards it, but there's a lot of various agencies. I just came from a conference, and there are a lot of agencies that are still in the planning process and are not quite prepared to make certain that they can resume critical processes or even have places to go for nuclear disasters at this point. They're working on it. It's just going to take some time to get there.
Another question. Add to that, the data-wise, I guess, it really depends on where you have your data center. So the data will be available. I'm not sure if the personnel can be available after that. So.
Right.
Okay. Another question here is something I can address real quickly. The website for where the information will be is HS Outlook, which stands for Homeland Security Outlook.com. HSOUTLOOK.com. And I believe right now, does anybody else have any other questions? We have a few minutes left.
One of the questions we received was, can you help us define our mess? Maybe that's for Carol?
Yes. Yes, we can help you define your mess. We use the procedure established by FEMA and listed in Federal Continuity Directives 1 and 2 as a source of identifying the mess. We also have a software package that we use internally that we can use to analyze the data that we gain from your organization in order to identify the mess based on your national essential functions. So yes, we can do that.
I have a question coming in from the audience. Does the technology work over a satellite connection? And I believe this one is for Joe.
Could you repeat that one more time?
Does the technology work over a satellite connection?
Yes, so you have to definitely do some traffic engineering. One of the things that you should, definitely keep in consideration is, again, the WAN acceleration technology. The WAN acceleration technology will increase your bandwidth, but again, at the same time, you have to. There's only so much you can push through a pipe, but utilizing the WAN acceleration, you can do compression, caching, as well as reducing the latency over satellite links that make it kind of difficult. But yes, absolutely. As long as it's IP-based, you can definitely do the solution.
Okay, Joe, I got another. I have another question for you here. How much data can be handled with WAN virtualization, secure remote site?
That's really it's a pretty dynamic question. That really depends on your server as well as your SAN infrastructure. So there's hundreds of virtualization server farms. And same thing with the SAN, it really depends on how much storage you have. So there's really no upper limit as far as the storage goes. It really depends on how much storage you have on your back end. Just like in a traditional physical environment, there's really no limit to how much servers and data you can have. You're really limited by your power and your resources.
Okay, the next question is actually very interesting because on hsoutlook.com we just posted a new article about this. The question is, how are you going to deal with an electromagnetic pulse attack, EMP, that knocks out your entire system? I think this is for Joe.
So again, that's very similar to just having a regular power outage. So assuming that you do have your data being replicated every few hours, 6 hours or 12 hours, the most amount of data you're going to lose is when the last time you replicated. Another thing to consider is you have to build your secondary site or your disaster recovery site outside the so-called blast zone, or in this case as the range of how far the attack can reach out to. So if you have your data center out in California and you have your primary site where in DC that was attacked, the solution can, again, same concept. I think it will go through. That's very similar to just having your entire power go out, data go out.
Okay, Robert, are you getting any more questions?
A couple other questions came in. Can you help us define our essential assets which need to be replicated at a disaster recovery site?
I think that's questions for me, and yes, we can. Your essential assets will be based on your mission essential functions. The mission essential functions that are identified by the lines of business naturally require assets, or whether it be IT or whether it be machinery, whether it be vital records, and they will come out during the mission essential functions identification process and the BIA. So yes, we can definitely work with you to identify those.
What should we consider as criteria to determine the disaster recovery site?
Say that again. I'm Robert. I kind of missed you.
The question came in, what should we consider as criteria to determine the disaster recovery site?
Okay, and that again is also going to be based on your essential systems. What has been defined as essential systems? How many do you have? What the capacity is? What the recovery time objectives are? You have to also make sure that you keep in mind that during a disaster, most of your systems and applications will run somewhat degraded. But except for your primary mission essential functions, which you need to be up in 12 hours and sustained for a minimum of 30 days. But you're going to base that on those requirements to determine exactly what type of DR site you need to have in place.
Okay, I think that if we don't have any further questions, we can wrap it up now. I just want to remind everybody in the audience that the presentation and the video will be available on hsoutlook.com and novadatacom.com. We'll send you an email after the program to remind you of that, and we'll also, on that page, we'll have the contact information for our panelists. So if you have any further questions, you can send me an email or call them directly. If you have any questions that's not involving the presentation you can direct the questions towards me. My name is Sarath-Neek, and I'm sure most of you have my email address now, which is sarath.neek@neekmedia.com. Thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to other programs with you in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.